All right, let's get into a topic that feels incredibly personal, but is also, profoundly political. And that's your name. We think of it as ours, as part of who we are. But what if it's something more? What if it's actually a tool, a mechanism of power that helps shape our entire lives? And right away, that quote just flips the whole idea on its head, doesn't it? A name isn't just for your friends or your family to call you. It's the very first word in a long story that the state writes about you. It's the handle that power uses to grab you and pull you into the system. So this leads us to that fundamental question, right? What exactly is a name? If it's not just about who we are personally, then what is its real job? And that, right there, is the crucial point. The very first thing the state does when we show up is record our name. And this isn't some sentimental gesture. It's purely bureaucratic. The goal isn't to preserve our memory, it's the first step in managing us. You've just become a data point, an individual who can now be tracked, cataloged, and, well, managed. This idea brings us to this really powerful metaphor from the philosopher Michel Foucault. He looked at this whole system of naming and identifying people, and he didn't see convenience. No, he saw an invisible cage. He actually called it a technology of governance. I know, that sounds a bit academic, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. A technology is just a tool that's designed to do something. For Foucault, a name is a tool, and it's designed specifically for the purpose of governing a population. It's not made of wood or steel, but it's a technology all the same. So, how does this technology actually work? Well, it's kind of like a three-step process. First, it allows the state to see you. Before everyone had standardized names, populations were just this fluid mass of people. But with a name, you become a distinct, visible dot on the map. Second, the state can classify you by your family, where you live, maybe your social status. And, well, once you can be seen and classified, you can be controlled through things like taxes, military service, and law enforcement. I mean, just think about it for a second. Your name is basically the title of a file that follows you around for your entire life. It's right there on your birth certificate, your school records, your driver's license, your passport. Every new document just adds another page to that file, building this official state-approved version of who you are. So Foucault did this brilliant job of describing the cage of identity, but his work naturally leads to an even sharper question, one that Karl Marx really ran with. Who's holding the keys to this cage? And this is just such a powerful shift in how to look at the problem. Foucault was a genius at describing the how, how the nuts and bolts of the control system work. But Marx, he was always interested in the why, and more importantly, the what's next. For him, it's not enough to just see the cage. He wanted to know if we could ever get out. To even think about breaking the cage, Marx argued that you have to ask two critical questions first. Number one, who put this thing here in the first place? And number two, maybe the most important question of all, who does it actually benefit? For Marx, the answer to that pretty much always led back to economic power. This chart just illustrates his point perfectly. A name is never neutral. For the elite, a surname can be a legacy, a key that unlocks doors to privilege, something that inherits status. But for the average person, a name is often just an entry in a big book, a number in a registry, a label that inherits a kind of preset fate within the system. One name is designed to stand apart, while the other is designed to blend in and be managed. But what happens when this cage of control becomes our entire world? This is where George Orwell enters the picture and takes the whole idea to its most chilling conclusion. You could say if Foucault saw the cage and Marx saw its architects, Orwell saw what its final, terrifying form would look like. Orwell's great fear, his big warning, was that this administrative impulse, this constant need to see and classify and control, would eventually just strip us of our own humanity. When a person becomes completely defined by their official file, by all the data points attached to their name, then the complex, messy, free individual just kind of disappears. We literally become the paperwork. Okay, so we've got these three really powerful, heavy perspectives. How do we fit them all together? And what do they tell us about the world we're living in right now? This table lays it all out so clearly. We start with Foucault, who makes us see the invisible cage in the first place. Then Marx comes along and asks, yeah, but who built this thing, and why isn't it the same for everyone? And finally, Orwell gives us the ultimate warning about its final form, a cage so perfect, so efficient, that it erases the actual human being inside. And this really is the central question that this whole analysis pushes us toward. In our world of digital profiles, national ID numbers, and biometric data, all of it linked back to that original name we were given at birth, how much real freedom do we have over our own identity? Now, the point of all this isn't to call for some kind of rebellion against having names. The goal is much simpler, but maybe even more powerful. It's awareness. It's about understanding that your name isn't just a simple word. It's a really complex instrument in a huge system of power. And if you want a perfect, modern-day example of this entire philosophical map we've just walked through, look no further than systems like the VNeID, the National Digital Identity. It's the culmination of everything we've talked about, seeing, classifying, and controlling, all streamlined into one single digital file. It is, quite literally, a modern map of control.